Today on Beers TV, we're going to show you one of the easiest ways to get your first reef tank up and running. Hi, I'm Ryan, your host of Beers TV, where each week we cover a new topic related to reefing. This week we have a special episode for newer reefers who want to learn the basics of reefing and get an affordable, easy to maintain reef tank up and running. Inside of 7 minutes, we're going to show you how easy it is to set up and maintain a reef tank with less than an hour of setup and 30 minutes of maintenance a couple times a month. I'm going to use this new tank kit, which includes a 20-gallon Nuvo tank from Innovative Marine, but you could apply the information in this video to basically any similar sized tank, especially those in the Nuvo line, which are designed around making things easy for newer reefers and making it aesthetically attractive in your home. The kit includes a heater, sand, rock, salt mix, fish food, glass cleaner, and a bottle of bacteria to get the filtration started. First step is to find a nice spot for the tank which is level and can hold a couple hundred pounds, like a countertop, sturdy cabinet, or table. Keep in mind, wherever you put it is likely to get wet occasionally. Try to place the tank in a spot where it won't get direct sunlight. Next, add your rock. Try to stack it in a way that keeps the rock a few inches from the sides and top as well as stable. Pour in the sand and spread it around the base of the rock. Mixing the salt water is easy. Rubbermaid Brute trash cans like this one are the most common reef-safe containers used to mix salt water in. Just add the salt to the water and look through this tool called a refractometer to measure the salinity. The scale inside measures in parts per thousand or specific gravity. More or less just dissolve the salt and add a few drops of water to the window. Close, wait 20 seconds or so and look through the eyepiece. It should read 35 parts per thousand or 1.026 specific gravity. Once you have the correct salinity, use the included dechlorinator to make the water safe for the tank. While you're waiting for the salt to dissolve, take a moment to check all the tubing connections on the pump and get familiar with the back of the tank. This area in the back is used to house equipment like pumps, filters, and heaters where they're out of the way. Go ahead and mount the heater. Make sure it's placed fairly low so it'll stay submerged at all times. Once you have everything situated, pour your mixed salt water in and plug everything in. Since we're dealing with water, the ideal outlet has a GFI like one you'd find in a bathroom or kitchen, or a power strip with a GFI built in. At minimum, make sure you arrange the cords in a way that will cause the drips to fall off safely rather than travel down the cord to the outlet, which is called the drip loop. Pretty much every electrical item in the tank will have a quick diagram on how they suggest to do this properly in the instructions. The tank shouldn't leak, but if it did, this will help keep your home safe. Now that the water is circulating, we just set the heater to 78 degrees, replace, install our lights, and the tank is set up. This literally took less than an hour to do from start to finish. All we need to do now is wait a few weeks for the beneficial bacteria to build up and start filtering our tank, which is called cycling the tank. You probably noticed we don't have an actual filter on the tank like you might expect. That's because the filtration is primarily done on the surface of the rock and sand where the beneficial bacteria populate and process the excess food and fish waste for you. Really, you don't have to do anything special to maintain this type of filtration. In fact, there really isn't much you could do in a normal reef tank to prevent the bacteria from populating and filtering your tank for you. Really, it's that easy. While the bacteria would populate on its own over time, new tank owners typically aren't that patient, and there are a couple of things we're going to do to speed the process up in your tank. First, we use live sand, which contains live dormant bacteria which will help cycle the tank. Second, we're going to use a product called Biospira, which helps cycle the tank quickly. After that, you can get your first fish. The Biospira and live sand will provide the filtration needed to protect your fish, but it's always wise to select something pretty hardy like a clownfish as your first addition. After that, give your tank a month to stabilize with the lights off before adding anything new. Keeping the lights off will help reduce algae growth common with new tanks. As a general rule of thumb, I find it's wise to never more than double your fish load in a single month, meaning next month add another fish and possibly 2 the month after. Some of my favorite new reefer fish selections for a tank like this is standard clownfish, purple or red firefish, shrimp and goby pairs, lawnmower or Midas blennies, or an orchid dottyback. Once the tank is stabilized around your fish population, you can add some interesting elements like snails, crabs, and shrimp. Nasarius and Astrea snails are popular, as well as small hermits, emerald crabs, cleaner shrimp, peppermint shrimp, and pistol shrimp. After that, some easy to keep corals as well. The lights that came with the kit are strong enough to keep some low light corals. As a beginner, it's also wise to select some that don't require much effort, like soft or even some LPS corals, zoanthids, mushrooms, recordia, polyps, candy canes, duncans, torch, or frog spawn. Now that the tank is set up, there's a couple ongoing maintenance steps to keep the tank healthy. First is feeding the fish. These little guys always look hungry, but don't let them fool you. Their bellies are tiny, so a few pellets each is a sizable amount of food. Easy to keep fish like the ones I just mentioned. Only need to eat once a day at the most. Many people even feed less. This is a pretty critical point on a small tank like this. Keep in mind that while the fish need to eat, food is the primary thing that pollutes the tank and promotes algae growth. You'll also need to top the tank off with fresh water every couple of days. Keep in mind that while water will evaporate, the salt doesn't leave the tank, so topping off the tank with new water to compensate for evaporation should always be done with fresh water, not salt water. We recommend picking up a few jugs of reverse osmosis or distilled water from your local grocery store for this purpose. Less frequently, you'll need to clean the glass. This Tune's Nano magnet cleaner is great for a tank this size. You'll also need to change the water regularly in a small system like this, meaning every other week. Water changes are the primary method of removing broken down food and other elements which can pollute the tank over time. Water changes will also be a new reefer's primary method of replacing elements consumed by the corals in the tank. We want to make sure the water is the same temperature as the tank and the salt is fully dissolved before we do the change. The kit includes a small heater and a pump for this. I find it's easiest to take a minute or two to do this the night before I do my water change, but it could be done a couple hours in advance as well. For a tank this size, I'd probably do close to 5 gallons. All you do is remove the water from the tank and then replace it with your heated, freshly mixed salt water. There are 100 ways to maintain a successful reef tank, but I can tell you something for absolute sure. If you're careful about the amount of food you put in the tank and good about the water changes, you're almost certainly going to have a lot of success and enjoy the hobby. This video is intentionally pretty high level and provides the elements you absolutely need to know to be successful with your first reef tank. If you have the desire to set up a larger, more advanced tank and understand the science and equipment at a deeper level, we have hundreds of other reefing videos, and don't be afraid to ask us a question in the comments area down below or even give us a call. If you're interested in this kit in particular, go check it out on our website. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button because we release new reefing videos every week covering virtually all aspects of reefing, including helpful videos like this one, speaker events, trade shows with the newest products in our industry, tank build series, and even tank tours. See you next week with another episode of BRS TV.